Hey folks, fractured headlines here. I just recorded a video going up the hill, now down the hill. It's easier to breathe, so hey, let's do it again. And let's talk about the 2026 midterm elections coming up. I'm not sure of the number of senators, representatives, and governors who will be up for re-election, but from the news, it appears it's a sizable number, and it's enough to change the control of the government and shift it from the Republicans to the Democrats. As a lifelong Democrat who has been willing to vote for the occasional Republican, I can't urge folks enough to take a look at the consequences if they continue to vote for the Republicans who are currently in power. In 2024, we had a stark choice. The choice was between sane and insane. On one hand, we had they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people, and windmills and whales and dead birds, and a lot of other nonsense coming from Donald Trump's mouth, confirming suspicions of his creeping senility and his overall insanity. And then we had, on the other hand, a female combatant, a female opponent on the Democrat side, Kamala Harris, who lost, you might say, because she was a woman, and a lot of folks are not ready to vote for a woman yet, and possibly because she was a woman of color. Now, I've heard the excuse, though, I couldn't vote for Kamala because I didn't approve of the way she got the nomination. She didn't go through the entire nomination process. Folks, it was a choice between crazy and not crazy. Representing not crazy, Ms. Harris. Representing crazy, Donald Trump. Representing good and hope for the future, Harris. And representing grift and more riches for the Trump family, Donald Trump. The choice could not have been clearer. Any sane individual could have seen that there were 4 years of sheer insanity coming up if we elected Donald Trump to be the 47th president of the United States, and yet it happened. 77 million Americans were taken in by his baloney, by his fake patriotism, and by his empty promises. Let me just ask you, are you enjoying the Republican health care plan? Has everybody signed up for the universal health care that Donald Trump and the Republicans have offered? No? Oh, you didn't hear about the health care plan? Oh, it doesn't exist. That's why. Again, folks, we had the choice in 2024 between sane, Ms. Harris, and insane. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, Trump. Good, let's help folks buy a house. And bad, let's take away folks' SNAP benefits for as long as we can. Because let's face it, Donald Trump can't imagine a world in which anybody goes hungry. In his world, you just go down to the buffet and you load up your plate, and there's no bill to pay. It just gets shoved down your gullet into your ever-expanding stomach. 2026 is going to be coming up in about a year, the election, November 2026. Got some pretty obvious choices to make here. The country does need a reset, not the kind of reset that Republicans were talking about some years ago, but a reset back towards sanity and toward fiscal responsibility. Democrats have some quite promising looking candidates. Gavin Newsom probably is the leading one at the time. He would make a great president. He's the governor of California. He's got plenty of executive experience. He's got the policy chops. He knows his way around the international scene. He is not demented. And on the other hand, the choices appear to be quite dubious. J.D. Vance, who got yanked out of obscurity, he wrote one thin little book detailing his supposed hard-scrabble youth. Actually, he grew up in a nice suburb. Not so hard-scrabble. Went to a really good school. His populist roots are totally suspect. They're not real. And then you got Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is furiously backpedaling from her support for Trump in order to appear rational. But let's not forget, folks, she is the Jewish space lasers lady. Before she shaved her unibrow and changed her makeup regimen and started attending to skincare a little more regularly, she was your Neanderthal Republican from Georgia, spewing hate and spewing illogic. And again, I remind you, Jewish space lasers were responsible for the California wildfires, funded by what, the Rothschild banking family? Yeah, I just saw that on the news this morning again. Total insanity. But she's doing a great job of trying to recreate herself. Who are the other candidates that the Republicans can put forward? It doesn't much matter, because you've got the Heritage Foundation backing the whole mess with their Project 2025, which is going to try to turn everything back to the 1950s. And you can just bet gay marriage is going to go adios. We've already seen Roe v. Wade repealed. I never thought I would see the day when women would have to travel hundreds of miles to a neighboring state to receive the health care that they need. And let's make no mistake about it, abortion is health care. If you've got a 15, 16, 17-year-old girl who's nowhere near ready to raise a child, and she mistakenly got pregnant, the time to put that to an end is early, before the baby is born. There is no shortage of human beings on the planet. If the human race is threatened at all, it's by its sheer numbers, by overpopulation, by overuse of the resources on the planet. Yeah, I know. I can hear you say, "Oh, well, you got born. You know, did you want to get aborted?" Well, no, I did not. I've appreciated my life, and I've tried to do good things with it to be helpful. My dad told me a long time ago, "Son, there's no family farm, there's no family business. Go out and find something useful to do, make yourself useful." And that's been what I've tried to do, make myself useful. But if you've got a teenage girl with a disappeared boyfriend who impregnated her, and she's looking at a hard scrabble life of poverty, supporting that child by herself, but she could have gone on to school and achieved something, made something of her life, an abortion can be a godsend. It is, if not physical health care, it's mental health care. And I think we've evolved to the point where we can sacrifice the occasional fetus in the pursuit of the overall good for the mother. Let's take into account the fact that these are women's choices. These are women's choices, and very often the legislation is being dictated by men, old white men, who are out of touch with what women need in terms of health care. So yeah, 2026 is rolling around pretty quick here. We've got some choices to make. If you are able to organize in any way and get people to the polls at that time, that'd be a great thing. If you've got family members who need a little nudging toward the right choices, now's the time to gently remind them of what's been going on for the last 8-10 months, however long Trump's been in office. And we can swing the balance of power back over to the rational side. Once again, this is a choice between the crazy and the not crazy. Now, on the Republican side, you can say, well, maybe Donald Trump is crazy, but everybody around him is not crazy. However, they're craven cowards. These are people who have enabled him, they have supported him, they have rallied around him every time he says or does something extremely stupid. I'm thinking of Mike Johnson, who is able to contort his words into a pretzel logic that defy reason. And that guy, They'll do anything to hold on to power, including supporting a guy who he knows deep down is flawed, morally flawed, mentally flawed, unfit for office. And you've got supporters all through the Republican Party who have been willing to prostitute themselves to Donald Trump. His lack of judgment continues to manifest itself daily. On the news today, there was a reference to James Comer and the attempt by Trump to nail him using an inexperienced prosecuting attorney. Now, she fit the bill in one way: a tall, lanky, long-haired, good-looking, good makeup, nice wardrobe, pleasant to have around the White House because she's pretty to look at. Okay, that fits the bill for Trump. That's pretty much what he's looking for. He's looking for some eye candy around the office. But when it came time to when it came up to prosecutorial experience or knowledge, the woman had nothing. Total blunders in the courtroom. Of course, the experienced prosecutors wouldn't touch that case with a 10-foot pole. They knew that James Comey had done nothing wrong. A waste of taxpayer money, a waste of time for the prosecutors, a waste of time for the Department of Justice. And yet, you've got Pam Bondi, and you've got, I don't even know that's the gal's name. I saw her on TV this morning. She's the prosecutor with no experience. Long and leggy, okay? Tall and leggy. A good-looking gal with no experience. Looks nice, probably smells nice. Trump likes having her around the office. So she got the job of going after Comer. Again, total incompetence in the White House. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. You've got a choice coming up in the midterms. This is a chance to change the balance of power and perhaps even bring Donald Trump to justice for some of the things he's been doing. We need to see everything that's in those Epstein files, and there needs to be a reckoning for the people he's killed indiscriminately in the Caribbean who were out on boats doing whatever they were doing. We'll never know because the Coast Guard had no opportunity to get on those boats and interview the people or search the boats. And it's all been a giant distraction from the Epstein files. Everything he does is a giant distraction. It's, hey, look over here, look over here. Don't look at those files. Forget about the files. Look at this crazy thing I'm doing now. And it's worked. It has certainly worked. The media will shift its attention. They'll stop looking in the direction of the files and toward the direction of the Qatari jet or the, whatever new grift is going on. But we need to focus. We need to stay focused. Republicans right now are the party of moral turpitude, the party of grift, the party of opportunism, the party of evil, making bad choices galore. So again, I encourage you, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, talk to your relatives, talk to your mom. Hey, my mom doesn't think that a woman should be president. That's a man's job, she says. Well, she's 95. She's voted for Republicans her whole life. We had a conversation recently. She said, oh, how did that terrible man ever get into office? I had to remind her, Mom, you voted for him a couple of times. That's partly how he got into office. And a lot of folks like you didn't think that the woman should be president. And then, of course, the unbelievable excuse for not voting for Ms. Harris. Well, she didn't come by the nomination through the usual process of a convention and a chance to vote on it. Hey, once again, folks, it was a choice between crazy and not crazy. It was a choice between assistance with down payments and we're going to take away your SNAP benefits. Yeah. So there you go. A few thoughts on a mountain road from Fractured Headlines. If you've got a comment to make or you want to argue with me, that'd be fantastic. Get down in those comments. Let's talk. You're free to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit any button you like. You could hit the off button on your computer, or the on button on your TV, or the get her done button on your desk. Yeah, the easy button. Any button you want to push, you go right ahead and push those buttons, and I will catch you on the next video.